for a minute or so. And hey, everybody, welcome back. It is another version of Recap the Adler Europa Edition. Match day 3 of the Europa League for Eintracht Frankfurt today. John Ben joining me in Delaware. Garrett here outside of work here in Detroit for me in my car before I get out of here. So caveat on the cake, because Eintracht Frankfurt spoiled us with a 12:45 Eastern lunchtime. We thought we were going to be spoiled. And I wouldn't say we were spoiled. Check on I always forget the RJK, right?
RFS.
I'm thinking of Besiktas and all that fun stuff. My Europa teams mixed up, all these long initials and so forth. But RFS from Latvia, Riga to be exact. A game that saw Eintracht Frankfurt have the ball, struggle to break down RFS until Rasmus Christensen in the second half, 1-0. The Adler gets the win. Another 3 points, so 2 wins and a draw from their first 3. John, 4-4-2 today, shape-wise. Amenda in the starting lineup, looks to wound up central next to Dahoud to start the game. Yep. Marmoushot on the left with Matanovic next to Cam Ujan. What were you thinking about that bit of rotation and then subs that came on? Obviously, Larson in the second half. Actually, it was Larson with the goal, not.
Yeah, Larson. Yeah, it was interesting. I liked the idea of Ujan getting minutes in this game. It didn't really work out, to be honest. He kind of was a little lost out there, wasn't able to really create anything. I think him having a poor game was a big reason why we weren't able to break their line early. You know, we weren't getting through them easily enough at all. Ebembe kind of had an off day too. I liked the rotation. I liked the idea of starting Matanovic, but then, we just didn't get him the service. The subs during the second half, obviously bringing on Larson. I thought Dahoud played a decent first half, so I was kind of questioning why Larson for Dahoud, but he came on and kind of changed the game. I mean, more than just the goal. He was getting in behind. He was making some runs, so that was big. And then, of course, Ekitike coming on. That dude just oozes skill. What a player. And he was able to start opening them up a little bit.
I think the general perception, from all of us, and also it seems like Hugo Ekitike as well, not the best day for Eintracht Frankfurt, but they got the win. And I think that is, when we look at match day 1, where we didn't do enough to a goal lead to hang on to the lead at home, today it was like, all right, not other than RFS completely growing down the pitch immediately at the Frankfurt goal, hitting the
that could have been bad.
Our buddy Chris and Austin in our Discord, when we scored, he was like, phew, too soon, bro, too soon. But I think give me your thought on Dahoud going out at halftime, because do you feel like it was on that, or do you feel like more it was Dino noticing what's ahead for the side at Union Berlin on Sunday and just being like, hey, here's your minutes for today, you'll be back in Sunday to some capacity?
Yeah, I have to feel that was a minutes kind of deal. I'm sure he told him before the game, you're going to play the first half, change you out, because I'm sure we're going to plan to play him on Sunday. If it had been a playing style kind of thing for that game, I think you would have seen Amenda taken out, or Tuta taken out and Tuta moving back, or keep Amenda and just take Tuta off. I thought Amenda actually played okay today, and then put Larson in next to Dahoud. But yeah, so I think that was just a minutes management thing. I thought Dahoud, that pass to Marmouche, oh my gosh! But other than that, he played a solid game.
It seems like even if Omar Marmouche doesn't score goals, if he's not getting goals, he's likely getting an assist. That ball was, to be able to do that, and Hugo Larson, to his credit, met it well. Seemed like he had to go full lunge to get to it. Hit it just enough where it trickles in, but that's sometimes all the luck that you need. So we get the 3 points. Obviously not to the level of predicaments that we had when we did have pod on Monday. Going to the Stadion de Alafortserai. if I messed that up, if y'all can tell me in the comments or anything like that. Versus FC Union Berlin. We know how Bo Svensson, we've used to playing Bo Svensson sides when Bo was at Mainz before. Obviously, he's got Union off to a good start, looking more vintage compared to the Union side we saw last year. So with this win, this 3 points, do you see today and seeing the game through and getting the win more as a boost for Dino's lads for Sunday, or are you having maybe a little bit more concerns than you might have had before the start of the match with RFS today?
I think because of the way we played, there are little questions, but I think also once we made some changes and put more of our starting lineup in later in the second half, it was a lot better. So I'm not too worried. I think the problem is we kind of relied too heavily on Marmouche, Ekitike, and Larson to break down defenses. So when those guys aren't on the field, it's a lot harder. Especially when Mbembe has a bad game, or and that when he has a bad game, that hurts his connection with Christensen. I think that we'll be okay for Sunday, but I definitely don't have the greatest feeling right now.
I think RFS showed opponents of Eintracht Frankfurt how you can break them, how you can throw them off. And I think this is kind of why maybe Dina and Mbembe didn't have the game that he had, because you could see RFS really pack the middle.
Yeah.
And really force. That's why I think Larson coming in to play that ball, the balls that, the cross balls, or to get in behind, base. I don't want to say it was like a zone, but it was essentially like you had to bring, it was like throwing a shot over a wall and seeing if you could break in that way. Whereas Dino likes to take people on, and RFS wasn't allowing him to really do that for the most part. I think he had a moment with Ekitike where ball a little bit more to tap in, but I think that might be more testament to how RFS played. But you're a Bo Svensson watching this for Sunday, or anyone else that Eintracht Frankfurt has, especially before the midwinter break. This is a good game plan of how you can shut this team down, especially as relying on inside-out play a lot and overlapping run. If they're not doing it in a transition, what you can do when you force Eintracht Frankfurt to have possession. Because this was a vintage Dino game last year where the team had possession and had the ball, but had to work for their goal today. Really work for their goal, maybe more so than they would have liked. But I also feel like in years past, last year, even earlier this year, we might have blown this game, like in terms of like maybe that ball by RFS goes inside the post, off the post. Maybe a header or two goes, like, I think they had a ball that they squared across from the right flank into the center of the box, and we meant it for intercepted, but so it's just, I'll take that. Are you wanting to alter your prediction at all for Sunday?
No, I went with a 1-1 draw. I think that's a very likely result. Could be a 0-0 draw, honestly, given Union's defense. And I think our defense is playing good enough to possibly keep a clean sheet, but can't ever predict a clean sheet. So, I'll keep it with a 1-1.
A cheat played with fire today, picking a clean sheet, but, got benefit for that. I think I picked Union won the Adler too. I think that's what I picked on Monday. I still feel pretty good about that. I think there's a good amount of attack. I think we're going to line up. I won't be surprised if we see the shape still, or we go to the 3-4-3 variant of it, where Christensen becomes a wingback as opposed to a fullback. Arthur Teat was out today. I think the dude's played almost so many minutes this year already, so I could see him back in on Sunday.
I feel like today was definitely a maintenance day for him. Give him a little rest. He's played so much. He'll definitely be in on Sunday.
Do you see Goetze or Chaibi starting lineup on Sunday? On that left, maybe on.
I think on that left side, it's going to be one of them, and then probably the other one subbing in for them sometime in the second half. I would like to see Chaibi start there, just give a little speed towards the Union defense, but wouldn't be upset with some control from Goetze.
Yeah, and I do wonder if Dino's going to roll right back out with Mbembe, or if he's going to go with Meinsker Knopf. I think there's a good couple options that you can throw in there. I would love, and I don't know if Dino's going to do this based on Union and how tight of a defense they can be, DeHood and Larson together.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I wouldn't be surprised if Skiri plays in that game, though. Nice to see him finally out of the mask, though. That hopefully is going to help his game.
Yeah, so, I mean, there are, not looked at right now, but I think there are some good signs to take from this match. A team getting the win is one thing. Playing and getting, I didn't say it was the prettiest. It was you tried to play your game, you had to work, you had to grind a little bit, you got to win. That I think that does more good than the opposite of that. So let's hope it continues on for Sunday. Remind me, are we off? Yeah, we are off Europa next week because it's Pokal week, right?
I believe so, yeah. I know we've got Slavia next at home in Europa League, but yeah, I think that's in a couple weeks. To be fair, I didn't look at the schedule, though, today.
And make sure, and as John noted, we are actually playing Slavia, unlike me use Victoria Pilsen with Slavia, and I was like, who the fuck did we play at match day 1? Yeah, I think that's a good amount. I think we covered good things. Anywhere else in the group? So John, first off, let people know where they can find you in the socials.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Ben_JBen or on Instagram at JohnBen33.
Twitter, Instagram, Discord for me at GM Comats, Eintracht Frankfurt Detroit. It's also at Detroit SKA. A little bit quiet. I'll drop a 1 or 2 sentence tweet in there a little bit later on tonight. Ways you can check out the channel. First off, when you check this out on YouTube, if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button on that, please do so. The more we get to that, the more you get to see some of this fun, cool stuff and shenanigans live. I mean, we think it's good. Hefpod.com for all of your podcasts, where you can find a map of all supporter groups. It's there, all episodes, SoundCloud, audio. I'm not sure if it wants to hit audio as well. Got back from the trip and is already posted on the hardest working artist and check along with the Podfather Brian himself doing some cool interview stuff behind it, even though his team's choice of sports teams is questionable in the US, but I'll leave that for another day. So for everyone in the Adler Nation, whether you're in North America or in Germany or anywhere, cheers, raise your glass to whatever you're drinking or food or whatever you take in, because in Herzen von Europa, 3 points to the Adler, 1-0 over RFS, who showed spirited performance. Kudos to them. On to Erste Union Berlin on Sunday, 12:30 Eastern kickoff. So you don't have to. Even I can get up and go enjoy this and not worry about missing anything. The Frauen are off this weekend. They are on international duty before they return to take on Bayern Munich next weekend. We'll talk more in detail about that this coming week in the next episode of Eintracht Frankfurt. Look for another one of these Recap the Adlers on Sunday. So for John in Delaware, Garrett here in Detroit, thank you all for checking this out. Cheers. Forza SKA.
Cheers.